friends, welcome back to our place. It is grocery haul day. It is farmers market haul day, which is perhaps my new favorite thing. I'm not sure. Let me show you what we picked up this Sunday from the farmers market stall. This happens every second Sunday where we are. So when it's on, we do try and pick up as much fresh veg as we can. It's seasonal, so it changes depending on what's in season at the moment. But this is what we scored this week for $54, which I actually think is really, really good. So let me show you what we scored this week at the farmers market. This is all my goodies, which, you know, where we are, $54, it's actually pretty good. So let me talk you through it. I've got 2 bunches of curly kale. They were $5 each. There's quite a bit of kale in this. This is wrapped really tight. So when I've had these in the past, I've been really happy with the amount of kale that actually comes off this. And I've also got some Tuscan kale as well, which was also $5. So yes, $15 worth of kale. But when you love kale, you love kale. I've got $8 worth of broccoli here. The little heads were $1 each. The slightly bigger ones were $1.50, but we're coming to the end of the season with the broccoli, so you know, we'll stock up on that while we can. I've picked up some bananas. I don't know the weight on this, and these are little homegrown little finger bananas. They're little tiny baby bananas. $5 for the bag here. Cherry tomatoes, or these ones are actually a grape, but same difference. $5 for these ones. And the bigger bags, I've got a bag of Roma and just a bag of standard. These were $6 a kilo, which again is a really good price where we are at the moment. I've picked up a butternut pumpkin. This one was $3, I think. Let's see. There we go. Yep, $3. A bag of red capsicums, which was $5, and then I've got some lettuce as well. So this is this butter leaf lettuce, I think. Anyways, $3 for this massive big bunch here. So heaps of salad lettuce, and this little sad looking little cos lettuce, these were $1, so I grabbed one of those as well. We also were lucky enough to get some freebies, so we were actually gifted some homegrown lemons, which I'm really excited about. They were dropped off on our doorstep by a friend when we got home, and the ladies at the farmers market threw in 2 eggplants, so these were free as well. So super happy about that. All in all, for $54, that's a pretty good fresh veg haul. So the question now, as always, is number 1, how am I going to fit all of this in the fridge? We'll work it out. It'll be okay. And then question number 2 is, what am I going to do with this? So I'm going to put this away in the fridge. I'm going to sit down and come up with a little meal plan, and then we're going to prep all of our ingredients so they are ready to go. I'm either going to make meals, or I'm going to have ingredients prepped and ready to go into meals. But first of all, let's get stuff in the fridge. Let's have a cuppa, do a bit of brainstorming. Getting started really simple. We're going to do a use it up salad. So I'm going to wash up the big head of, I think it's butter lettuce, I'm not really sure, and then I've got some stuff in the fridge to use up as well. So I've got half a cucumber, I've got a little bit of red onion, I do have some of these falafels, so I'll throw those in. I've got a cucumber and some avocado, and we'll throw in some of the cherry tomatoes that I just grabbed as well, and I might even throw in some sauerkraut, and I don't know, we'll just have a look in the fridge. It's going to be a use it up salad, so nice and easy. Let's get started with that. And there's my salad, really quick and easy. Just chucked a whole bunch of things in there that need to be used up, and while I'm at it, you know, making a mess, there's lunch ready for tomorrow. Just got to heat those falafels up. 2 for the price of 1. Gotta love it. I also have the rest of our lettuce just prepped and washed and ready to go into some more salads. I do have a little bit of paper towel in there, just absorbing any moisture, so that hopefully we get another couple of days out of this one as well. But this one is ready to go for anybody who wants to chuck it in a sandwich or make their own salad. Yeah, there we go. Prep number 1 done. My next job is going to be to start washing and prepping all of this kale, but I also need to think ahead to dinner, so I'm going to put that job aside and I'm actually going to go and air fry some tofu and some other veggies that I've got lying around that needs to be used up as well. This is very similar to what you've seen me do before. I'm just going to dice this up, season it. I'm using nutritional yeast and a little bit of the Vegeta stock powder. Toss that. And stick it in the air fryer for 10 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. Also going to dice up our sweet potato that is left over from last week. So while I'm prepping all of my new veggies, I also want to be making sure that I am using up and incorporating anything that I still have left over from last week into my meal prep today. I'll season this one as well. Fairly classic sweet potato combo. Going with some paprika and a little bit of garlic and onion powder as well. Toss this one as well. And we're just going to sit this aside until the air fryer is free and these guys can go in. While we are chopping and air frying and all that sort of good stuff, may as well go ahead and get started on this butternut pumpkin as well. Tofu's done. I've only actually done one block of tofu because, to be completely honest with you guys, the other one smelt a bit funny, so I didn't cook it up. I've grabbed another one out of the freezer to defrost and I'll just cook that tomorrow. With this one done, get that out of the way and we'll go ahead and get our sweet potato on. I'm going to put this one on for 15 minutes, also on 200 degrees. I'll give it a jiggle and just give it 5-minute bursts until it's cooked the way that I like it. All right, our sweet potatoes had 15 minutes and that's all I'm going to give it. I'm actually pretty happy with that. So I'm going to call that done for today. There was only one medium-sized sweet potato in there, so you know, that'll do. And now I'm going to cook all of my diced pumpkin. I'm not going to put any flavoring on this one. I'm just going to stick it in. And again, we're going to give this one 15 minutes at 200 degrees. This one will probably take a little bit longer because there is a bit more in the air fryer today. So 15 minutes, 200 degrees, we'll give it a jiggle. Do it in 5-minute bursts until we're happy with the way that it looks. All right, finally, the kale. We are just going to wash and then strip the kale. All right, now that we are all washed up, just going to strip. And not going to muck around too much with this one. Pull off any bits that don't look fabulous. And just going to give it a quick chop. And get it in a container. All right, that is one bunch of kale down. These bunches are so big. There is so much kale. That is stripped and chopped, and this is my big steamer container. So we've still got a whole nother bunch to go. This is a lot of kale. All right, container number 2. Kale is done and my pumpkin just dinged. Oh, beautiful and crispy. Goes into a container. And then all of these things that I have air fried, I like to let them cool before I put the lid on, just so they don't go all soggy. This is where I'm at the end of today's little meal prepping or ingredient prepping session. I'm buggered, so I'm going to stop here. Yes, there is more that I need to do, but you know what? There's still tomorrow. So 2 massive big containers of kale. Can you see that? That's ridiculous. And I still have the Tuscan kale to prep as well. I've got my butternut pumpkin. I've got the sweet potato from last week that still needs to be used up. I've done some tofu. I've got our buttery leaf lettuce to go. Oh, and don't forget, I've also made a salad for tomorrow. Hooray. So that'll be my lunch for tomorrow. I'm going to go and dig out some leftovers for dinner, and I'm going to get this in the fridge to do something with tomorrow. All right, round 2 of our chopping and dicing, and I'm going to get into all of this broccoli. Some of it I'm going to steam up. Some of it I will also chuck in the air fryer as well and crispy it up. It has turned a little bit yellow because it did sit out because I couldn't fit it in my fridge, but it'll be all right. It just, it's still perfectly edible even when it goes a little bit yellow like this. Yeah, it's just losing a little bit of its greenness, which is the chlorophyll. So that's what plants do. So let's chop this up, get it cooked and get it in the fridge. Right, this week is just going to be one of those weeks. I keep getting interrupted every time I try to meal prep and every time I try to film for you guys. So I apologize. But that's life. Life is lifing, and you just roll with it. So what has happened behind the scenes is I have cooked up all of this broccoli and it's been in the fridge. So I chopped it all up, I microwaved it in batches just for a few minutes just to cook it really quickly, and I got that big bunch of broccoli down into a small container. So it is cooked. I can either eat it cold, I can quickly warm it up if I'm having a warm meal, or I can stick it in the air fryer and just crispy it up a little bit depending on what I want to do. There's a whole heap of broccoli in here ready to go, which is awesome. And the stalks of the broccoli I also dice up. That is in the freezer, and I've got little bags of things like that I can just chuck into soups or stews or even spaghetti bolognese sauce. Just use it up. So that happened, and now it's dinner time and I need to think about what we're going to have for dinner. So I have some ingredients prepped, and I think it's time to actually pull a meal together and show you guys an actual meal. So this is what I love about component prep meal planning. It is dinner time and I'm going to do a kale salad, and half of this stuff is all ready to go. So I do need to cook up my salad. I haven't got around to that yet, but we've got some broccoli to throw in. I've got tofu ready. There's sweet potato. There's pumpkin. Now, I'm the only person who likes pumpkin, so all of this pumpkin is mine. Shannon and Charlotte can fight over the sweet potato. And I can also just add on a few salad ingredients. I've got the red capsicum that I bought, the cherry tomatoes that I've already put into that salad, and we've got some avocados that need using as well. So this will be a really quick and easy dinner, and half the work is already done. For the kale, I'm just going to quickly cook it. Loving this at the moment. This is a Parmesan onion infused olive oil from Rich Glen in Yarrawonga in Victoria. Not sponsored, just love it. I don't know if you can buy this in store anywhere. I used this in a previous video and I was saying I got this one from Rich Glen, so I don't know where you can get it from outside of Yarrawonga. I'm going to cook up all of my kale. So I'm just going to warm that oil up, and then I'm going to start getting all of this kale in. I'll probably have to give it a couple of goes. So we'll cook a bit off, and then we'll cook a bit more. Right, once it's cooked down, I'll just transfer that ready for serving, and we'll cook up the next batch exactly the same way. And this is it all pulled together, so they are all slightly different. This is my serve here. I've got the pumpkin, and as you can see, we've got the kale. I've also thrown in some pepita seeds as well, the tofu, the broccoli, and a little bit of red capsicum. Red capsicum is loaded with vitamin C, so it helps you absorb the iron from your kale and your tofu. So that's me. This is also my lunch for tomorrow. So this one also has pumpkin in it, exactly the same. Charlotte over here, she's got sweet potato, and Shannon's has a sweet potato, but also a little bit of avocado. So a quarter of an avocado there, just to bump up his calories a little bit, but otherwise pretty much exactly the same. So there we go. Dinner done. Quick little meal prepping update here. I am making a kale and white bean stew. So in the pan I've got garlic, onion and carrots, just cooking off in a little bit of stock. So that's just water and stock powder. I'm using the Vegeta organic, and that's the last of that. So I have topped it up with a little bit of Tuscan seasoning, because it is Tuscan kale and white bean stew. I'm also going to throw in a cup of yellow split peas. I've just measured these guys out, and I'm going to rinse and drain them. To our yellow split peas, I've also added 1.5 cups of liquid, and I'm just going to pop the lid on, and I'm going to let this simmer away while I prep our kale. Kale is chopped and washed, it's just draining, and my kitchen is a mess. A little bit like this week, but it doesn't matter, we're cooking dinner. So this will cook for a little bit longer, just softening those yellow split peas before we start building the rest of the sauce. Still bubbling along over here, but those peas are starting to cook through a little bit. So I'm going to start chucking in some extra veggies because can't have enough veg. Going in with some broccoli and cauliflower rice and some corn kernels. I'll probably do a cup of corn and 1.5 cups of the broccoli and cauliflower rice, just to start filling this out a little bit more with some more veggies. Mixing this in, these new veggies, but I'm going to go in with some more liquid very shortly as well, just so that we can start getting a bit of a stew consistency, but still cooking off those split peas, which, you know, they're coming along, but a few more minutes. And put the lid back on. All right, checking in. Ooh, steaming up, but starting to look pretty good. I did put in an extra cup of water. As you can see, it's all a bit watery again, but those, ooh, very hot. Yellow split peas. Let me see if I can find one. There's one. Starting to look cooked. I'm just going to test this one. They are softening up. Oh, and that is delicious with the Tuscan seasoning in there. All right, so next up, all right, it's time to go in with the stick blender, and I'm going to start turning this into a bit more of a stew. So this is my end consistency. I've still got some chunky bits in there. It's not completely blended, but as you can see, it's a great way to hide some sneaky veggies. And I haven't quite finished cooking yet because I've still got my kale, which I am going to, dump in with one hand. Maybe I should use two. Oh, this is going to end badly. That was definitely a two-handed job. So kale's in just on top, lids back on, and I'm just going to let that kale steam a little bit with that stew underneath while I go ahead and drain our white beans. So I've got a can of butter beans. That'll work perfectly fine. I'm just going to rinse and drain these, and they can go in last of all. Quick taste test. That is delicious. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to next level the beans. I'm going to chuck them in the air fryer with some nutritional yeast, some Tuscan seasoning, and maybe even a little bit of this bad boy on the beans, and I'm going to crispy them up and then chuck them in because that is delicious just like that. Crispy beans are in and steaming everything up. But there we go. Sort of mix that through a little bit. And that is our kale and white bean stew. Another day, another kale salad. This one, we have some kale on the bottom, wilted, again cooked in the parmesan and onion olive oil. Got some lentils there as well. Some of the broccoli that we're still working through, the last of the pumpkin that I roasted in the air fryer, and I finished it off with a dollop of hummus and a drizzle of a balsamic vinegar. So that's my lunch for today, and Charlotte's is just about done, so even a winner with the kids. Not bad. Tonight I'm going to whip up a pasta, but I'm going to use one of our eggplants and some of our tomatoes to make a delicious, really simple, quick and easy sauce to go with our pasta. So let's start chopping and pulling this together. I've just diced up the eggplant into fairly small cubes, so about 1 centimetre. I've also drizzled them with a little bit of balsamic vinegar and some olive oil, and I'm going to get these out in the air fryer and I'm going to roast these off. All right, I've diced up about 500 grams of tomatoes. It was about half of that bag, and a small onion. The most basic sauce ever. This is so simple, so quick. Let's fry off this onion until it's nice and golden. Going in with a little bit of crushed garlic. I've got 2 heaped teaspoons there. cook that off as well. All right, in with our tomatoes. Tablespoon of Italian mixed herbs. I've got 3/4 of a cup of stock in here, so I use a powdered stock. I've just gone in with 1.5 teaspoons of this Vegeta vegetable stock and 3/4 of a cup of water, and we're just going to let this simmer away now. And I'm going to get the pasta started. Time to get the pasta in. We're just going to cook this according to the packet directions. So for this one, it's only 5 minutes. So this won't take too long. While our pasta is cooking, I'm going to finish our sauce over here, which has been cooking away. Just going to give this a little stir. And I'm going to fill it out with a whole bunch of nutritional yeast. If you have Parmesan, you could use that. But I've just popped in 4 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And we're going to mix that through. Our eggplant is finished outside. I'm not going to throw that in until the very, very end. Pasta is in, so we're just going to give that a very gentle mix. This pasta, I've just undercooked it just a little bit. It'll finish cooking in this sauce, and then once we've got this all mixed together, I'll go and get the eggplant. Last of all, I've got all of this roasted crispy eggplant that is roasted in a balsamic and olive oil, so it's just going to go beautifully with this pasta. And that is it. Quick and easy, full of flavour, super delicious. Ready to be served up.